We are Trekyards. Resistance is futile. You will adapt to watch our content.
But Stuart, I'm just a neurobiologist. We can't be so divided in our personalities. That doesn't work. We need to be one. I can't just be here in a beautiful red dress by myself and you take over. It doesn't work, Stuart. You can't take over the channel. It doesn't work.
Okay, you took me right out of it because there's no way you would look as good in a red dress as Girardi does. So you just ruined it all. But that's okay. Welcome back, guys.
Red trench coat, Matrix style.
There you go. Welcome back, guys. He is Commander Cockings.
He's Captain Foley, and that was an impromptu intro, and I took it in a direction you probably didn't think I was going to go, but hey, it makes sense.
We are Team Trekyard. You are part of our collective, and we're here today to talk about Picard Season 2. We're talking about the Borg Queen and Girardi, and where exactly this Borg Queen story is going.
Now, we know that there's going to be a simulated cops with lasers, as in, like, guns with laser pointers. We know that's going to happen, but that's all we know.
And that Girardi runs across some cop cars in a red dress.
So, based on this episode, how did you feel about the Borg Queen subplot, and where do you think it's going to go vibe-wise? Because it covered a good amount of ground.
Well, I liked that Girardi was like, that was a tough decision for me to not tell my friends, to lie to them, because I knew that I needed to keep you alive, essentially, because we needed you to get back. So she did it to help her friends, because she couldn't just let the Borg Queen die. So I thought that was interesting. The whole conversation she's having with herself about you're not going to take control, this is 50-50, and then the whole rush of endorphins for the Borg Queen to actually like, oh yeah, okay, now I got full control. I didn't think it would go that way. Like I didn't think we'd be seeing this necessarily. This is something else that we got to now focus on as another problem in the past. I just want to get back to the future. I don't have a problem with it per se. Like I understand why Girardi did it, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes. And I think a lot of the speculation about the Borg Queen in episode 1 of it being Girardi is pretty on the nose, but it could also be a red herring. She's literally wearing red. It could be like she's not the Borg Queen. Look at the red herring. We're tricking you. It could be something else, but
I mean, even with the time travel rules also imply this Borg Queen will be erased as soon as they go back to their timeline, because the Federation timeline never existed. So therefore, according to the Picard logic, they could never go back in time to have gone to the past to put the Borg Queen there. So already they can't be her directly. The nanoprobe shouldn't exist. Now, in normal time travel, Star Trek logic, of course it can, because alternate branching time streams, you can pull from one branch to another branch, a la, yeah, it's easy, it happens all the time, branches always get pulled from, etc., like relativity, etc. Anyway, so I liked it in general. I was surprised how quick it was resolved, quote unquote, the taking control. And obviously this is not a prime timeline queen, fine. And it's not even as Krieg style queen, so it's a different version, so the tech therefore is different. So those are good disclaimers. Alternate reality and alternate design. Okay, the rules are out the window. Would a queen nanoprobes take over a body in this way? Normally you become a drone. It's a whole different set of rules they're sort of playing by. And Girardi being smart enough to not let the queen take over. It's a weird framing structure. You would think there'd be, this could be an entire season arc. How do queen nanoprobes and a brain pattern survive in a human who's all this stuff, but then to have her take over by the end, you kind of can't really come back from that, because a queen is of course a superior mind to a human. So really, Girardi shouldn't be able to take control again at any point. Which means they just got Borg Queen in Girardi's body. Is that interesting? Can she nanoprobe? Can she assimilate? Like, we kind of know she can, but it's kind of combining the story and getting to near the end point so quick that I'm like, okay, I guess she's a Borg Queen now. Okay, like I liked it, but it seemed odd to kind of rush through it so much. Does that make sense?
It does, and you raised some interesting points. Like, I just assumed this was how, in an emergency, a Borg Queen can not necessarily. Well, it is assimilating her, but also, you think the Queen's physiology would be much different than the rest of the collective. So that's why the different nanotubes. That's why, all that stuff. And
although we do see Alice Krieg have the classic one, so it's just this version.
Yes, yeah. Well, yeah, even the glow of Girardi's head, like, that's like one of the initial things.
It's like brain assimilation, not body assimilation. Although she could break the chains, which implies they've already started augmenting the strength factor.
That's true, yeah.
And the fact they can EMP means the nanoprobes are enough in her system to create internal technology to be able to generate an EMP, so she is being assimilated fully. That's happening. Now, is a queen enough to control the nanoprobes directly? As in, can they say, right, I want to blend in here, so let's not have the Picard, popping, thing? Because that's internal tech that replicates and creates. That's not a... No one adds that to your body. So is the queen able to control the nanoprobes mentally enough to avoid external changes so that they can blend in better?
It's a good question. Like, they still need her to do the warp jump, the warp calculations.
But also, it's not the queen's body. I wouldn't think that Jurati Queen can have the same Borg equation time sense, because it's not just the... Like, there's two things. There's a Borg Queen's body and a Borg Queen's brain pattern. Why would a brain pattern, the energy of a brain pattern, have the ability to sense time? It's the body. It's how the mechanical stuff in the brain works. It's all of it combined.
Just be knowledge based too. I think this might tie in with Seven at some point. Like, Seven's really enjoying her humanity. It's even pointed out in this episode, this latest one, episode 6 of season 2. Since Seven has such knowledge of the Borg and has been a Borg, and I'm wondering if at some point she's actually going to have to make the choice to get reassimilated by Jurati as a way to help her and possibly help everyone to get to the future. Maybe Seven is the Borg Queen that we see in episode 1. I think it's more of a knowledge thing mixed with the technology.
Like, I'll buy that these nanoprobes are replicating inside her the Borg Queen tech, but then how much of it is then based on the appearance of the Queen, because it's a very specific body shape. Like, those holes in the head, that's because she's an alien with those holes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, the brain will then end up becoming the metal skeleton of the Queen. That's fine. That'll happen. That's just how that stuff works. But how much of that is none of it tied to the species? I mean, it's only one figment of the figment of what the Borg Queen is. The Borg Queen can't... The nanoprobes, I don't assume, can, create a sub-line between the torso and the spine so that she can separate. That you'd think would be that's specific to that species, who can survive that, who can then... there's a limitation to what the nanoprobes can do, unless they're god nanoprobes, which, I mean, they could say, but it's like, well, I mean...
It kind of implied that nanoprobes can do pretty much anything, so...
But also in a one day... Because in theory, they've already solved the time travel. In theory, they've now fixed time by their own logic. Renee is now going to go into the future, which means now the present re-exists, which means now they should not exist anymore based on their time travel logic.
That's why they're making these two new problems. Picard being unconscious, and then Jurati out on the loose with the Borg consciousness. It's like, once Picard wakes up, we can go. Where's Jurati? Ah, shit, we got assimilated cops.
Yes,
it's just another problem, and it's frustrating to me. But
where's Q? Where's both Qs? Where's Black Jacket Q and White Jacket Q? Because really, is he really going to leave all of that? Like, why would he just blow up a capsule with Renee in? I mean, there were easier things to do. Is Q really going to accept that because Picard talked to him, and why send Sung? I mean, these things don't connect in a useful way, leading to the end. If time is now fixed, so it can't be fixed, which means the problem isn't what we thought. Oh, it
makes my brain hurt.
There's real disconnects here in story and pace and tone.
It could all be answered by the end of the season. Like, we could look like fools because it was all planned out. It makes perfect sense.
And it's funny because it's different to season 1, where they threw out 10 new plot threads a week, and they ignored 9 of them a week. And it felt like potential every week, but never did stuff with it. This, it feels like they're on a very narrow path where things don't quite line up. There'll be a very simple explanation for everything, but it'll be very wrapped up in a bow feeling, and it didn't quite evolve in a way. Because this could be the entire story. Borg Queen let loose on Earth assimilates people. That's a great story. What can a Queen's nanoprobes do? Can a Queen assimilate everybody individually? Will they all be Queens? I don't know. Delve into that,
See, here's the thing, though. This could tie in with the weird interdimensional rift in the weird Borg ship that we'll see in the future. Yeah. It could be that they've fixed the initial problem for the Confederation timeline, but now we've got Borg in the past, which creates an alternate future that they actually they actually end up jumping to, and realize, shit, we got to use this Borg technology to create an interdimensional rift to get over to where we need to be. It could be a whole thing, but that seems like a lot to do in, well, I guess not in Old Trek, but in 4 episodes that we have remaining. But I don't know, because now that they fixed that, but if we got nanified Borg police officers, that's changing. It doesn't matter. The timeline should just be erased from existence. I don't know. See, their timeline logic, the way they have explained it, has kind of ruined everything. So
it takes away all the stakes because it all gets undone.
It does, yeah.
Whereas, Future Imperfect with Braxton doesn't get undone. It all still happened. There's still attention. It just happened and got time fixed. But it all still happened. Because, like I say, if they, for example, well, Rios' combat still unaccounted for. We'll see if that's ever brought up again. That's still in the loose.
We still haven't seen Duquesne yet. Or they acted
that's true.
as Duquesne.
Yeah. But obviously that combat would be erased anyway, so who cares, I guess, timeline-wise. Again, there's no butterfly effect here, because it's not our timeline, so... But it will be interesting, though, if they do then jump forward, and one nanoprobe survives, and they jump forward, and now it's a Borg timeline. It's like, I like that idea, that's kind of interesting. But then they just got to repeat the same story again, just go back and just kill the Borg. I mean, they just... you can just shoot them to death with bullets. And in theory... a 50 cal bullet is very different to a 9mm. For them to be able to, adapt, like, it's a different kinetic force. It'll like phaser, stun, kill, disintegrate, all the different power settings. So all you have to do is bring 6 different firearm types and kill them one at a time going up. Like, you kind of need the Borg to assimilate a lot of people. You kind of want the Queen to go into police station and assimilate everybody, and then says, right, you 100 officers, assimilate everyone else. Like, you want it to be a zombie film from now on. Like, you want it to be that sense of, wow, 1 million assimilated, we've fucked up the future again. Sorry, I just swore. We've messed up the future again in a totally different way. Although, because that also wouldn't make sense, because if they could never go back in time with a Confederation Borg Queen, they can never make this timeline, so that can't happen either. Because they're again, the timeline logic doesn't work. It's frustrating. Don't know, Stuart, but I don't think it's going to be truly satisfying.
I don't know. I just know Girardi is killing it with the acting. So
And Borg Queen
really
Lady, both doing phenomenal stuff.
Yeah. The Odd Couple.
What do you
Star
guys
Trek
think?
edition.
What do you think of the new Borg Queen legs? She finally has legs. Canon legs. Well, canon hallucination legs. Let us know.
Comment down below, guys. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to do all the things you need to do, notification bell icon, all that. And join us for lives, because we love hearing from you guys and hanging out with you.
And support us directly, if you can, via Patreon, PayPal, join the channel on YouTube, support the channel via Super Chats. It means a lot to us. Putting your comments, questions, and thoughts really helps. And any other way you can help. There are ways just read those comments, read those descriptions, just look, Yeah.
So until next time, he's Commander Cocky.
He's Captain Foley. Bye, guys.
See ya.